Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, glad you're back on this Wednesday, October 11th, 2017 day on our calendar. Just to set the record straight, the Investigative Journal, I'm Greg Anthony. Boy, what a day again. I mean, there's geoengineered wildfire storms in Northern California like we've never seen. I want to start out with that. But first, remember, go to my website at greganthonysjournal.wordpress.com. And you can get shows going back over 12 years regarding the Vatican-led New World Order. And please hit that donate button because we're listener-sponsored, and without you, we can't get this show accomplished. And for those of you who enjoy it, for those subscribers, anything will help. We got to stay on the air, at least until the end is near. I don't think it's quite near. I don't know, how far do you think we have? Things are moving pretty quick, and we're going to start out with a story that just shocked me. I woke up to this one, and I'm looking at a map of Northern California. And at 1 a.m. last night, 60 separate explosive fires like never before seen hit Sonoma and Napa counties up to Mendocino County. Around 11:30 p.m. last night, winds began to swirl out of nowhere. There was no weather event predicted or forecast. At 1 a.m., over 60 fires combusted, but there was no lightning or no warning. Mass evacuations in the middle of the night took place, many running out of gas heading west to the coast, since North 101 at Santa Rosa and east to Napa were on fire. This morning I woke up to 11 dead there. I don't know how many homes were destroyed. 20,000 people were evacuated. And this is a geoterrorism as evidenced by Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Maria, Nate, and now fires from the sky in the middle of the night out of nowhere. Hurricane Harvey came at 1:30 a.m. and was downgraded to a tropical storm, and then dams were opened to flush the toilet. Here in Northern California, it's burn, baby, burn, burn. And boy, I'm looking at some pictures now that are horrific. And these fires are moving quick. Multiple big fires spread across Napa, California. State of emergency in California. I was talking to a friend of mine up there, and he said that some of the wineries were just devastated within hours. Oh my goodness, how am I going to survive? When I was in Rome, I got a taste of the real good vino. And you can get some really good vino in Napa Valley. When comparing the situation to the meteorite that caused the Wild Mountain Fire in New Hampshire, and comparing it to, do that. Go to amsmeteors.org. We may very well be seeing a meteor shower. We don't know. Producing meteorites that can, in fact, cause fires. You got to be watching this closely at night. Also, we officially say, hi, there's another tropical storm Ophelia in the Atlantic. As of now, no threat to the U.S., and the first major winter storm, Aidan, rolls over Denver. Wow. I cannot believe it. Well, I know it snows in Denver. I used to live in a place called Nederland, Colorado. I think I spent one winter shoveling snow. That's all I did, at about 8,500 feet. So anyway, I just wanted to bring you that storm. And remember, in Southern California, there was a big, huge fire, and a number of thousands of evacuations. This was in Orange County. I think it's the Anaheim Hills fire. And a number of homes were destroyed. They got it under control now, but the Santa Anas are whipping up. And if you've ever been around that area during the Santa Anas, look out. Get your sailboat out. And if you could, put wheels on it. You'll go 100 miles an hour. But anyway, I just wanted to update you on that small story, which is actually very large if you think about it. They're burning up California, the West, and I'm reading another article here that Yellowstone's about to blow. How do we know? I don't know. I guess there's seismologists that are looking at things and seeing all the earthquakes nearby and all of the disruptions, a lot of it caused by, they say, fracking and other things, and then natural causes, of course, or maybe geoengineering causes to move it a little quicker. Who knows what they're doing with the weather now, folks? And remember, there's a movie out now called, it's coming soon. I don't know if it hit the big screen yet, but it's called Geostorm. And, Hollywood always puts that out because what they want to do is they put it out there and everybody thinks, oh, this is just science fiction. But it's actually reality, but they want you to believe it's science fiction. It's like when you wake up in the morning. You step out into the world, you think it's real. It's not. It's a fake world they created. They've even created what you walk onto. You think you're on some globe traveling 1,000,000 miles an hour. But let me tell you now, you're on a little flat pancake. And then you're covered by something, and they're trying to bust that wide open. Who the hell knows what they're going to do next? But these guys, I tell you, they've got it all planned out. If something really goes wrong, they got these underground bunkers they can live in for years. And I thought we'd go over today and to Georgetown University for a few minutes, as I got an inside, put it this way. I got an inside look. I'm not going to tell you how I got it, but there's a tunnel under there in a room where the Jesuit priests, Father Armagedian, Carlos Armagedian was down there today, and he was meeting with some of the leaders of how are we going to get this world over quick. And boy, I got their conversation right down, and Father Armagedian, he said this. He looked at, guess who? Donald Trump was there. He snuck down. Donald said he had to go to the bathroom at the White House, but he snuck over into the tunnel and then into the secret room between Georgetown and the White House. And this is what Father Carlos Armagedian said to Donald, now you listen carefully. I know you're not the brightest guy in the world. You can build buildings, but you have to stay on script. How many times do I tell you at night when we put that little ear thing in your ear and you listen to what you're supposed to say in the morning, then we even give to you a written script, and sometimes you just go way off of it. Like the other day. Remember when you were talking to the military leaders? Now this Father Armagedian, he's a real stickler for, staking on. He's like a director. If you go off script, they'll do this over and over again. So he said to Donald the other day, he told these military leaders, this is the calm before the storm. You weren't supposed to say that. Some people picked up on it and are saying that we're orchestrating a war. Donald, you got to be more careful. And I told you not to bring that dog down here, Donald. They probably got him wired. Okay. Now, Father Armagedian never travels without a couple bodyguards, and now they just started frisking Donald to see if he was wired, and he was not wired. I guess if he was wired, they might kill him. But anyway, they had a small meeting today with Donald Trump to get him back on page. They want him to stop, letting the cat out of the bag. They want it to be a surprise, said Armagedian when he left. And he's a little upset at Donald's dog. But anyway, I don't know where he got one, but I guess he does now. So anyway, that was their meeting. And then Father Armagedian, Carlos Armagedian, went back to Georgetown to start looking at some pedophilia websites. Is what they spend their afternoon doing. Between 2 and 4, a number of the Jesuits get together in their meeting room, and they call it their social hour. And they start delving into their pedophilia websites and checking into the people that do them, that work for them, to see if everything is going well. So I hope they have a good day. And that was what happened today in Georgetown University and the White House. Little secret meetings you don't get anywhere else but here. And Donald's dog decided to stay. I'm going to let him stay. What the heck? It's better listening to him than a lot of people that you listen to on the air. But anyway, let's move on to the next topic of discussion. Okay, let's move right along here. And since we're talking about war and Donald Trump and North Korea, I've got a picture in front of me here of our Secretary of Defense, James Mattis. He's in his Army uniform, Marine uniform, and he's about 120 years old. I said, what the hell's he doing in a Marine uniform? He can't even move anymore. I mean, what is this? I mean, come on. Just sit up there in your chair at the Pentagon and direct things. But there he is, looking like he's a military man. And Secretary of Defense James Mattis, he did say on Monday, he urged the U.S. military to be ready regarding the nuclear threat posed by North Korea, so President Donald Trump can employ military options if necessary. And somebody asked him, what can the U.S. military do to lessen the likelihood of conflict on the Korean Peninsula? And guess what he said? Mattis said, the government is currently using a very defensive strategy. Yes, we're dressing all of our soldiers up in pink. And then we're going to line them up on the North Korean border and play disco music. Hopefully, to see if we can get the North Koreans to dance. Okay, that's a good thing, Mr. Mattis. But he really said this. Diplomatically led, economic sanctioned buttressed effort to try to deter North Korea from its nuclear ambitions, but said the future is unpredictable. Now, let me explain what he just said. They're lying to you. They don't put sanctions on because the Western people are giving him the money to do this. It's orchestrated. The money comes from China, the West, all over the place. They want this nutcase. He's their nutcase, their Castro nutcase, they put up there to start World War III. Oh, hell, why don't you just don't stop at 3? Go to 10. That's a good round number. Get 3 over with, we'll get to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come on, you guys have been planning this World War III for years, and, I don't think you're doing a good job of it. I could do a better job of planning it. I'd probably have it all over with by now. But anyway, he then went on to say, what did he say? Okay, I missed something here. He said, now what does the future hold? Neither you nor I can say, says Mattis. So I'll tell you what the future holds. You better not put that military uniform on. You look like a fool. You're about 120 years old to be like me. Or maybe, you know what we ought to do? I've had this suggestion for years. I'm tired of seeing the young people die at wars, right? And, these wars are all orchestrated anyway. But we're always killing the best of the young, and it's no good. Why don't we have just a senior citizen army? 65 and over, then you go in. What the hell? I bet you you got nothing to lose at that point. You're going to get a better fighting corps. They might not be as quick and agile. Can you imagine imagine Navy SEALs, the senior citizen Navy SEAL Corps. They train in a bingo parlor. And then they go out with their white shoes and their white pants and their white socks, and they play a little tennis. Then they walk around the block, and whoever can do that gets into the senior citizen Navy SEALs. Now, we might not be able to carry out covert operations as quickly, but we would be dedicated. Senior citizens definitely would be dedicated because they got nothing else to lose. I mean, many of them are bored anyway out of their minds. Imagine these guys living in, Miami. Oh, they're so bored from playing paddleball, shuffleboard, wiffle ball, whatever they play. They'd love to join. So that's what, and hell, Jim Mattis, he's a senior citizen. He's leading everybody. He'd look good then. He'd look better than a lot of the senior citizens that'll come in with round stomachs. He's at least pretty fit. But he looks bad in front of all those young guys. And then in the end, he ain't going anywhere. He's just going to sit behind the desk, and then the young guys go get themselves killed. And if they do throw nukes, he'll be in some nuclear-protected place, and the rest of us will just fry to death. Now, what does the future hold? He said, neither you nor I can say. Oh, I can say. I'll tell you what it holds. There's one thing the U.S. Army can do, he said, and that is you have to be ready to ensure that we have military options that our president can employ if needed. Oh, God. Mattis again said the effort to stop North Korea is diplomatically led, touting the United Nations Security Council's recent unanimous votes. All this is a bunch of BS. The international community has spoken. Trump tweeted again on ongoing tensions between North Korea and Kim Jong-un, and he basically said this to Kim Jong-un: I want to have an arm wrestling match with you today, and the winner takes all. And Kim Jong-un said, which arm? Trump said, the right arm. And Kim said, I'm left-handed, can't do it. Well, similarly, Trump sent tweets on Saturday claiming North Korea had been making fools of U.S. negotiators for years, adding that only one thing will work in terms of confronting Pyongyang, and that is to play a game of ping pong. Okay, Donald. The messages seem to suggest that President considers ping pong action the most valuable approach to handling North Korea. I thought the other day he said he wanted to blow the hell out of them. I guess he's decided he wants to play ping pong. Oh, boy. He did say this, though. Presidents and their administrations have been talking in North Korea for 20 years. You can't talk to a country, Donald. You cannot. I dare you to try to talk to Maine or New Hampshire or even the county of Cook County in Illinois. Try talking to that. You ain't going to talk back. You got to talk to a person, Donald. And he said it hasn't worked. Well, sure, it's not going to work. No country's going to talk back to you. I told you years ago. Agreements violated before the ink was dry. Making fools of U.S. negotiators. Sorry, but only one thing will work. What is that, Donald? Ping pong? Or war? Hey, this guy. I mean, he's telling you what they're doing. The U.S. has roughly 25,000 military personnel in South Korea getting ready on their ping pong tables. They're getting them out, including 15,000 from the Army who have all been trained at ping pong, and I've heard that even half of them can play ambidextrously. According to the most recent government numbers, has around 40,000 military personnel in Japan who have been trained to be sumo wrestlers. Hopefully, they can defeat the Northern Korea sumo wrestlers. And roughly 2,600 of them are drastically overweight. American forces in both countries would likely be involved in a very violent sumo wrestling conflict. And even the ping pong match could get out of hand, they say. Could turn into an all-out battle of throwing the ping pong paddles. Without accounting of the use of nuclear weapons, how are they going to use nuclear weapons in a ping pong game? What are they going to I know what they're going to do. They're going to have one ball loaded. And that ball's going to blow the whole place into smithereens. It's estimated that as many as 1 million people would die from a conflict between the U.S. and North Korea. How do they know that? What are they setting a limit here? Okay, we want 1 million people at least to die, so we got to get at least 1 million. Now, where are they going to come from? The U.S. military ranks number 1 in the world in terms of overall strength, while North Korea is ranked 23. What's this, like a football game? The top 25 they give out every year, according to the Global Firepower Index? This is insane. More than 1.1 million people serve in North Korea's armed forces. What the hell else do they got to do there? They got no lights. You ever look at North Korea at night? The only place lit up is Pyongyang or whatever, the head town. They don't even have running water. So what else are they going to do but join the military? They actually joined the military so they can eat. Thanks to the Jesuits controlling North Korea. It's kind of what they did to, the communists when they did the Paraguay reductions to figure out how to control people under communist rule. They created communism. The U.S. does not have complete intelligence on North Korea's military capabilities. Yes, we do. All you got to go over to Georgetown and get it. You have everything. You know you have everything. Quit lying to us. Gets pretty annoying, doesn't it? But the country is believed to have up to 60 nuclear weapons. I told you, go ask Fr Armagedian. You were just talking to him, Donald. They know exactly what's going on. And you do too. But you're just a little bit, Look, I know it's difficult for you. Coming into this world, getting your assignment as the top Freemason builder. You didn't want to do it, but you're doing it for your Pope and everybody else, I know. So anyway, North Korean regime is also believed to roughly 1,300 aircraft, 300 helicopters, 430 combatant vessels, 250 amphibious vessels, 70 submarines, 4,300 tanks, 2,500 armored vehicles, and 5,500 multiple rocket launchers, according to the Council on Foreign Relations. They know. Thank you for telling me what they have. North Korea escalates its aggressive rhetoric against the United States again. And all deliberations so far made relate to the development of ignition technology. Oh boy. They say they got a big bomb. It's better than the one they did in Nagasaki. Oh, God, they go into so many plutonium bombs. They're telling us everything. Why don't you just get it over with? Like I said, if I was in control of this, I'd be in World War VII by now. I'd just like to get it over with. Do it, get it over with, and let's move on. Enough of this crazy talk. You don't think people understand you anymore? And can they get a goofier looking guy to be their patsy president or leader or dictator than this guy? I mean, he looks like one of the North Korean Three Stooges. Where's the other two? He would be Curly, of course. And we need Moe and Larry. Get them in there. But anyway, again, we got to deal with the North Korea event. Now, hopefully, the ping pong match goes well. I mean, why don't they just play a fair game and forget about the war and all that stuff? I mean, all of it's an orchestration. I mean, why don't they just quit? I mean, that's what I would do if they can't get it done by now, just take your ping pong balls and go home. And let everybody be in peace, because this is terrible. And in fact, I can't wait for the next EMP attack when they shut off everything. Then I ain't got to listen to this garbage anymore. At least, I'd rather just be in an island right now where there's nobody. I wouldn't know what the hell happened, and it would be over with before you know it. And if you're in some place where they don't decide to blow it to smithereens, you'd wake up to a whole different world, right? And you wouldn't even know what happened. But what they want to do is tell you everything so that they can freeze you to death. I mean, not literally, but you're kind of like a walking zombie because you don't know what the hell they're going to do next, And you worry. Wow, it's natural. Human beings worry. I mean, it's the way you're built. They know that. But anyway, I'm just a bit tired of it, to be honest with you. I don't know about you. We could have, it should be over with by now. As far as all these predictions they've made, it should be over with. And I'm so tired of them dragging this thing on, dragging it on. They've been talking about World War III ever since World War I. And you'd think they would be moving faster. And as you can tell, I wish this clock was moving faster, because I right now have 1 minute and 30 seconds left, and I don't know what I'm going to say. And that gets dangerous. Because then I have to listen the next day to somebody tell me something. I can't remember what the heck I said. And then I just say in an email, well, I'm getting old. And you know what happens when you get old? You forget. You forget what day it is, what time it is. You forget what country you live in. And you know something? There's something to be said about that. I just wish it would move quicker for me, too. I'd wake up, I wouldn't know anything. Be a lot happier. The old ignorance is bliss. And by the way, I'm a little upset. The Cubs game was rained out today in Chicago. They won yesterday, so that means they got to win one more to get to the National League Championship game. But it's rained out. Chicago, it's raining. They're going to play it tomorrow. So I got to wait another 24 hours. Wait. Always waiting. Are you the kind of person like me that goes to the grocery store and you look for the shortest line and you go back and forth, which you're wasting time, but you got to do it. Then you find the shortest line, but then the guy over there is anal, and it takes him an hour and a half to get out, and you sit there going, why do I always pick the shortest line and it takes the longest time? So then you pack up your groceries, you put it in your cart, and you go to another one. And then you run into another anal person. Same thing happens. I don't know if you do that, but I've got to take a break. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigative Journal.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Okay, we're back, and I bet you don't even want to be back for the second half hour after that first half hour on the... What day is it today, by the way? I'm getting so old I forgot. Is it really important what day it is? I mean, they're all the same. Don't they appear that way? Monday, Tuesday, we're on Tuesday. No, Wednesday. There's so many Wednesdays. And it appears that they all seem to be the same. Everybody's looking for that apocalyptic day that's coming in the future, so why not have some fun with it? You know, have you ever seen on the web Planet X? All these stories about Planet X? Well, I, for one, have never read one. And let me tell you why I haven't read any. That is because I don't believe there are any planets. Yeah, I don't believe there are planets. There are these kind of nice little stars God created, but I don't think there are planets. So I said, how can there be a Planet X if there's no planets? And then I said, there's a lot of people with either pseudoscientific backgrounds that believe there's planets, or they're just really great science fiction buffs. So why don't we have some fun with them? And for the first time in my life, I'm going to read a story, Planet X, Dragon of Revelation's Apocalypse. October 12th, asteroid flyby strikes panic. And then some fictional guy with a fictional mind did a video about a planet X. But there is none. How can there be a planet X? And then there's a nice picture of the planet hurling down through the universe. Well, there is no universe. But let's have fun, see what he has to say. Of course, this is about another date in the onslaught of dates we've been hit with in the past months. The date being this Thursday. It reaches a point to where you are just like, get it over with. Hey, didn't I just say this? And bring it on, will you? All right, I like this guy. He's just like me. An incredibly close asteroid flyby due to occur this coming Thursday has sparked another round of conspiracy theories suggesting that this is a harbinger of the end times. Stargazers will be looking to the skies later this week in hopes of catching a glimpse of asteroid 2002. Give me a sip of beer. Actually, that's water. I just wanted somebody to call in and say, Greg, at least wait till after the show. It's water. As it soars between the Earth and the Moon at a distance of around 4,000 miles. However, others see Thursday's wondrous event as something far more worrisome. I don't worry anymore about this stuff. And as often the case, point to the combination of religious and historical clues to confirm their worst fears. Specifically, they note that Friday the 13th will mark the 100th anniversary of the third and final Marian apparition at Fatima, a mysterious event which has long been connected to apocalyptic speculation. Let's read what he has to say, because I think I know a little bit about these fake Mother Mary apparitions. Conspiracy theorists couple this historic occasion with a carefully chosen verse of the Book of Revelations that warns of a great sign in the heavens in the form of an anguished woman. He's a little, true Christians don't believe in Mother Mary apparitions. I just wanted to clear him up on that. Catholics do, but they've been brainwashed by the Satanists that control the Vatican. This woman, they suspect, is the Virgin Mary returning to Earth a century after her last appearance in order to finish whatever chain of events she began in 1917. Of course, scientists and skeptics say that the asteroid flyby is simply a natural event and not a sign of impending doom. I think they're all making it up. It's all made up. And now they got all these... they can create these fake cities in the sky. What do they call it? Hieroglyphics, something like that. They can do all this fake stuff in the sky now. Their stance can certainly be understood considering that 2017 has been replete. I mean replete. I don't like that word. Get it out of the dictionary. Has been full of end times expectations. Let's just use full. You make it simple for me. With end times expectations, including the highly publicized September 23rd date, as well as, that passed. Incredibly, another Friday the 13th warning back in January. And of course, there's still the October 21st apocalypse prediction, still to come later in the month, and most likely one or two more before the year comes to the end. At this rate, should the apocalypse ever truly happen in our lifetime? It's, what do you think? Ironically, it's probably when the end of the world will really unfold, when you're never even considering it. I know the end of the world will happen for every one of us, and it's just a question of not when, but if. No, not if, but when. That's another thing. When you start, that phrase, it's not when, but if. No, if, but when. It's kind of like that old phrase. I never understood when you can't see the forest through the trees. What is that? I've been in a forest, and I say that a number of times. And I always go, what the hell is he talking about? And then there's that old expression, can you hear a tree? Is there sound if nobody hears a tree falling? I guess there is sound. Somebody's going to hear it. If a rabbit, a squirrel, there's somebody, a bird, an ant, somebody hears it. There is a sound there. It might not be your sound. You might not have heard it at the time, but it does resonate to some living creature. Okay, let's finish the show with Mandalay Bay and Mandalay, the false flag, and Mr. Paddock up there in the 32nd floor mowing down country and western concert goers. Because we might as well get it over with, because there'll be another one soon, and then we won't be able to talk about this one because everybody will talk about the next one. So I was sent this from a place called State of the Nation, asked to read it to you, and a former intelligence analyst said this: Vegas was on the op, the likes of which has never been seen before in the U.S. That's because they had to disguise it as a lone gunman who could become a patsy like Lee Harvey Oswald. So it was really an assault on the POTUS and the Patriots camouflaged as a lone wolf. Another white guy who snapped. This is the only way the CIA spooks could have plausible deniability. I just wondered what that, plausible deniability. Can't they think of an easier way to say that? Oh, I just got a note from Georgetown. They write me every now and then. They said, Greg, we enjoy you getting so close to the inside and telling us that inside information, but you were wrong. It was Father Giovanni Armagedian, not Carlos Armagedian. Okay, thank you. And that was from Georgetown University. Yet another CIA-directed government attack on the American people that involves the entire U.S. intelligence community, the FBI, DHS, ATF, and local law enforcement. Don't any of these people want to tell the truth? I mean, how are they told? What are they saying? We're going to make it seem like there was mass murder because it's really going to help the United States. It's going to make it a better country. I think they just like playing games, to be honest with you. I think these are all people that really need to just go to Hollywood. They really, they've been watching movies too long. They say, well, now we can just do it in real time. Hell. And the State of the Nation article said it's extremely important that the Las Vegas mass shooting be called exactly what it is. A false flag terrorist attack carried out as a highly organized black op by the U.S. intelligence community in concert with Great Britain's MI6 and Israel's Mossad. What about the Jesuits at Georgetown? Come on, guys. Can't you get it right? Michael Chertoff, Sheldon Adelson, Israeli Mossad suspects. Who knows? All of the evidence points to the fact that the patsy, Stephen C. Paddock, probably had nothing whatsoever to do with this mass casualty incident. How much is he going to get paid? I mean, he's actually a guy, isn't he? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's a fake guy. His brother was supposedly talking, but that doesn't mean anything. On the other hand, the rapidly growing body of hard evidence clearly reflects an extremely well-coordinated false flag operation conducted by all the usual suspects. How about Father Giovanni Armagedian? How about the Black Pope, the White Pope? They never mention these guys. They're involved in it. Who were the conspirators? And the volumes of circumstantial evidence available thus far indicate everything. I don't even want to go through it. It has to go right down. Let's start from my list. The Vatican to the United States government, the president, his cabinet, then the Central Intelligence Agency, Department of Homeland Security, the National Security Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. I wonder if I can get any black market cigarettes from them. And then sell them real cheap in Mexico. People smoke here. More people smoke here than I saw in America. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and the Clark County Sheriff's Department. What about the dog catcher? Does he know anything about it? Because each of these law enforcement agencies continues to participate in the ongoing cover-up It is certain that each had foreknowledge of this mass shooting on Sunday. So I want to know how they talk about it. How do they justify it? Please, somebody email me with that information at gregbeacon@gmail.com, because I just have so many things, questions. Why, how, who, where, when, why? And I try to figure out exactly what do they tell these guys. We got to fake a mass shooting because it's better for the American people? And why would a sheriff go along with it? Is it that, I mean, are they that connected that they're going to get killed? Maybe? And how do they justify it? Don't you think there's somebody in the sheriff's department that's going to go to one of the local nightclubs at night, get a little drunk, and talk about it? And I guess they're followed by CIA guys, and then they kill him the next day. They suicide. He has a suicide. Because each of these law enforcement agencies continue to participate in the ongoing cover-up, so says the State of the Nation. It is certain that each had foreknowledge. October 1 at the Harvest Country Music Festival. The complete lack of police response by the local law enforcement is quite telling, as is the lack of emergency medical personnel at the scene of the attack. As usual, the CIA would have had operational responsibility for overseeing the implementation plan. What would they be doing there anyway? I mean, why would they be there unless they knew about it? It's a country concert. What happens in Vegas stays with the CIA. There are several damning videos. There's a number of them. I haven't watched any this time because, you know, frankly, I've watched every one of them in the past, and they do the same thing. I wanted to just say that they did it and then see if I was right. There are several damning videos which clearly demonstrate the extraordinary law enforcement neglect by the locals. In a phrase, the local law enforcement was AWOL. The local hotel security service were out to lunch. As for the much more important security staff that was contracted for the Harvest event, it's now quite clear that there was nobody home. And this video that they show proves each of these three statements. Taxi driver video, Vegas terror, says it all. Go get that. Google it. Taxi driver video of Vegas tells it all. A miniature national security state it turned into. It's essential. Why were they there if they didn't know about it? I mean, it's a country music concert. And you got FBI galore and CIA galore there. Should tell you they did it. It's essential to and if they were there, they're so stupid they can't stop it. Well, it was real, but you know it ain't real. Oh boy. It's an indisputable fact that Vegas is, and will forever be the most locked down city in the U.S. The city has been set up over many years as a miniature national security state. The obvious reason is that Sin City thrives on massive revenue streams of gambling receipts. It's the only reason why the city of Vegas is still there, especially given the lack of reliable water supplies in what is basically a desert. And thanks to the mob, you guys can gamble now. It's not just the gambling income earned by the many casinos, it's also the criminal enterprises which have grown up around the gambling industry over decades. Well, don't we know crime pays, folks? You know? Illicit businesses such as the mafia high-end prostitution services, mob-run loan sharking, and CIA-overseen drug dealing also provide enormous revenues. However, it's the arms trafficking, as the major illegal weapons deals and the gun running, smaller arms deals, which generate a huge percentage of these profits under the table. Perhaps the most significant reason why Vegas is so locked down 24/7 is because of the immense amount of money laundering that goes on in every casino. The sheer volume of drug money alone, in the form of cash requiring laundering, is inconceivable. After drug trafficking, there are other criminal enterprises that converge in Vegas that generate steady streams of cash, which must be laundered. This normal state of affairs necessitates its own citywide security apparatus that deeply involves the feds at every level. Well, yeah, they're there to get their cut. You know, what about the annual Jesuit meetings in Las Vegas? I don't know. They probably take over a hotel, gamble their little rosaries away. All right. What's the vital point here? Nothing can ever happen in Vegas without 50 cameras watching you. The spying, the surveillance, the infrastructure throughout the entire city is not only state-of-the-art, it would make London's look like kindergarten. There is no city in the entire world that has better cameras and audio mics everywhere, in every hotel room. Here is gambling's magnate Steve Wynn talking about the security in his various hotels. And when you go to his website, Steve Wynn talks security measures. It's amazing. And this guy got in there with 20 weapons? Give me a break. Key point. The house always wins in Vegas. It never loses. Do you think these massive casino operations would not take advantage of bugging every single room in order to preclude a hit or a super savant whose high gambling winnings are increasing daily? Hence, there's not a single square inch of that city, Sin City. What's Sin City? I thought it was Hollywood. I thought it was Hollywood. I guess it's Vegas and Hollywood. That is not totally wired by Satan himself. Satan's down there gambling, by the way. The gambling industry does not tolerate big winners in Vegas, ever. Even when you think you've won, you haven't. See? You know, I've never stepped foot in a gambling casino. And the reason is, I'm a loser. I admit it. So I don't even bother going. The critical point here is that no one enters the greater Vegas metropolitan area without being subjected to extreme monitoring and surveillance. And the closer you get to Vegas Strip, the more closely you're watched and listened to. In fact, the Nevada gaming area earns roughly 50% of the gaming revenue from all sources of the state of Nevada. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that the feds know exactly who's responsible for the Mandalay Bay shooting. And you know, I did a story on Mandalay Bay and I spelled it wrong yesterday. M-A-N-D-A-L-Y, Greg. I put Mandalay Bay. I think it's, so what? You know what I meant. And I'm old. You can't expect me to spell every word right. Another crucial point is that a guy like Patsy Stephen Craig Paddock, the alleged shooter, knows all of this. He's been given a government agent practically forever. He's been one, that's what they say, and knows well the lay of the land. Therefore, he never even tried to pull the trigger, try to pull off such a mass murder in this extremely controlled and hostile environment. They even captured him on video at the very moment that he fell in a Vegas casino. When you add it all up, all the spying, surveillance, capabilities utilized in Vegas by the intel agencies, it becomes obvious that the U.S. intelligence community provided direct and material moral support to the execution of this black operative false flag event. There should be no question about this whatsoever. Case closed. Now, there's the day after the shooting, a number of windows blown out by the gunfire or broken fire weapons through. Yeah, there's a large body of evidence which proves that there were multiple shooters surrounding the music venue. Were they shooting blanks? Yes, they were shooting blanks. Were they shooting blanks, folks? I think so. Okay, not only, simply put, the official narrative now stands as the single most ridiculous conspiracy theory ever concocted by the U.S. federal government since the 9/11 Commission report. Of course they know, but there are very specific reasons why they promote a ludicrous story. Here we go with that word replete. Replete with other falsehoods, full of other falsehoods. There are now many factual statements which can be asserted categorically about this domestic terrorist attack. Each one of these data points, when thrown up on a radar screen, is vital to the understanding of this unparalleled psyop. When those dots are then concocted, an unambiguous picture of the culprits takes shape, which looks just like you know who. It's always, it can be applied to cut through all the deliberately produced noise of distraction, diversion, misdirection. As for the initial crime spree that was required to set up the crime scene and commit this false flag event, those details are almost impossible to accurately tease out. You can't get it perfectly right. So we must wait for more insider leaks, the info, or even more courageous whistleblowing to blow the lid off this thing. And even though, and I'll just end the article there, Even though we can blow the lid off of it, it'll never, ever sink in to the millions of dumb bunnies in America who believe everything the government says. And that is the history of life in America. Don't try to tell anybody the truth. It's not worth it. Then, Greg, why do you do it? Because it's worth it. I just said it wasn't worth it. I think it's worth it. I said it wasn't worth it. See what I mean? I got this constant battle going on within me. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Is it worth it to have puppies that don't listen to you and tear up paper that you put down so they can use that for their place to go? Is that asking too much? Just a second. Okay, I only got 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes, and everybody's clapping. Do you hear that? You hear that? Everybody's clapping. He's only got 2 minutes. Okay. Well, listen, I hope you enjoyed the show. Go to my website at greganthonysjournal.wordpress.com, and please press that donate button. You know something? It's a listener-based show. Who else is going to sponsor? Nobody's going to sponsor this. I mean, they don't want to hear the truth. You think Procter & Gamble's going to come around? You know, I call Procter & Gamble. Hello, soup company. You ever listen to my radio show? I try to tell the truth about the Jesuits in the Vatican. Then you hear the click. And the guy on the other end, the advertising guy, goes, oh, this nutcase is calling us. You know we don't sponsor the truth. We only sell soup to people who listen to the New World Order. And then, if we find out that you don't, we are going to bug your soup cans. All right. So now you know why I need your support. Go to greganthonysjournal.wordpress.com. Get shows going back over 12 years on the Vatican-led New World Order. Hit that donate button. Donate what you can if you subscribe. I got a lot of subscribers. Come on. It's all free. Give me a boost here. And make it worth my while, so to speak, as they say. And I know this show is worth your while because you've got at least to hear inside information about Father Giovanni, not Carlos, Armagedian, talking to Donald Trump in that tunnel in that little room down there between Georgetown and the White House. You'll never get that anyplace else. I dare you to find any place that has that story. So, all done. See you tomorrow on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.